Replay. It's a battle of the graveyards as we check out this Chainer Nightmare Adept deck. Who can use their graveyard the best? Find out next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, in addition to my TCG affiliate player link, I now have an affiliate link with Flipside Gaming, an LGS from my hometown. You can use the promo code REPLAY to save 10% on your next order over $10. Both affiliate links are in the description below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Chainer Nightmare Adept today. I've already taken the free mulligan, I've been thinking about this hand for a little bit. It's a little slow, no ramp. But it does have a Buried Alive that could get us to some ramp. It's not my favorite, but we'll try it. Today's deck list does come to us from Patreon supporter Death Chobo. So excited to run their Chainer deck out there. Chainer's one that I've been meaning to get back to for a little while myself. Ew, looks like we're last in the turn order. That is bad with the no ramp. It's not the best thing that I've ever heard of. But we have a Living Death, which is like pseudo board wipe. Early in the game, it's probably a board wipe, so that is something. But anyway, yeah, excited to play this. Red-Black Reanimator. Take a quick peek over at the deck. So we got the deck right here. One thing I'm noticing, maybe a little crowded at 5 mana. I get it, it's a Reanimator, so you're not planning to hardcast everything. But I still might try to get a few more things happening at this early part of the curve. Maybe a Faithless Looting or something like that. Another piece of ramp or two. This is a little bit clunky. Again, I know we're not trying to cast every single one of these, but you will have to cast some number of them. So that's a thing to think about. Some card didn't make the import. I'm not sure which one, so I added a Solemn Simulacrum in its place. Felt like we needed a little more ramp, and that's a pretty good one for this deck. So brings it to our turn 1. We draw into a Feldon. Gives us, well, if we had a second red, it'd be something to do early, but nope. So we'll just drop down the mountain and pass like that. I would say that this list appears to be mid-power. I didn't see any combos in the deck, but there are a lot of powerful cards like Sire of Insanity and Karavek are some pretty nasty red-black creatures. We see Karavek right there. We see Villas. We see Pestilence Demon. There's one that I've been trying to run for a while. It just hasn't made it into a deck. Archfiend of Despair is pretty good. So yeah, we got some nasty stuff in here. Again, I didn't see any combos. Oh, there's a Machias. Machias is like basically a combo by itself, so I guess there's that. Do we have, what's his face? Grey Merchant of Asphodel? Doesn't look like it. I guess the other one's what? Triskelion? And a few of those things that ping stuff. So didn't see any of that stuff, but still should be a lot of good red-black value. Lots of powerful stuff. Just got to make sure we get through the early game in good shape here, and I'm a little bit nervous about that, but we'll see how it goes. Opponent lays down a Brave the Sands, and that middle opponent lays down a Bitter Blossom, so getting their 2-mana enchantments going. See if we can keep the streak going. Oh, that's 3. I think we're going to break the streak. Cavalcade of Calamity for the Zerzoff opponent. We draw into a Doom Whisperer. Interesting card. Let's get the Swamp down right here, try to get those colors going, and pass like that. So yes, actually reading Chainer's abilities, as we have an Arcane Signal coming down for opponent. So 4 mana for a 3/2, discard a card. You may cast a creature spell from your graveyard this turn. Activate this ability only once each turn, and whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, it gains haste until your next turn. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Allows you to discard a card and then cast something from the graveyard. And it gets haste when it comes into play. All good stuff. And there's some other things that cause that haste ability to trigger also. It doesn't specifically need to be the reanimation ability that you're using. Like, I think if you used a Quicksilver Amulet, or really anything that dumps stuff into play from the graveyard, from the library, I think it's all of that's going to give it haste. Even if things get, like, blinked, that can also give things haste. So that haste clause is pretty interesting because it can trigger off of more things than just Chainer itself. So, kind of cool. Opponent makes a Fairy with Bitter Blossom on their second turn, and here comes a Drana Liberator of Malakir. And that was their third turn, by the way, excuse me. So they got a little flying army going on over there. Opponent's going to play an Iron Crag Pyromancer. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, it deals 3 damage to any target. That's not terrible. That is not terrible. Ooh, there's a Soul Ring. We so badly need that. Okay, so play the Volrath Stronghold. This turn, I am thinking, let's go Soul Ring. That'll be the easy part of the turn. Just Buried Alive? I think it's Soul Ring, or do we go... Let's go Chainer first, because that's more mana efficient. Oh, right. Chainer also gives himself haste, because you cast him not from your hand. We'll swing into the, appears to be Abzan opponent. Oh, it's a Nethroi deck. Oh, well, do you want to know what card's going to be terrible against that Nethroi deck? This Living Death. So opponent takes a hit for 3, goes down to 37. We pass the turn like that. I'd be so happy if we can catch a colored land off the top. Second red or a second black. Both will be pretty good for us. If opponent wanted to activate that Makokoro over there, I'd be pretty happy. We've got a Cub Warden coming down for opponent. That is a mutate creature with lifelink. No mutate target this time, but when it mutates, create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. So, gonna be lots of lifelink and stuff on that. And more importantly, is a mutate target and will cause a bunch of things to trigger if Nethroi should happen. Another Bitter Blossom trigger, sure. Yep, and here comes the Fleshbag Marauder. That was a thing that I was worried about. Like we got past the first opponent. I thought we were in the clear, and not so much. Do we have those in this deck? No, this deck needs some of those. Fleshbag and Friends are really, really good. I know they don't get everything, but when you're trying to get ahead in the early game like this, they're so helpful to slowing down anyone that's coming out quick. So, Graveyard or Command Zone? I think I'm just going to keep it in the graveyard, honestly. Probably going to have to Living Death at some point, so yeah. I mean, these things are just like an easy 3-for-1. Just so good for early game commanders. Yeah. Opponent going to send a 1/1 our way. Yep. And we'll take 2 by the time everything is said and done because of the Drana ability. Taking a look at what our opponents are playing today. So we do have a Nethroi deck, one that we've seen on the channel a little bit. Nethroi is a really strong mutate commander. I would say probably the strongest mutate commander. When it mutates, return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Pretty good. And they are companioned with Kaheera, the Orphan Guard. Each creature card in your starting deck is a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast card, has vigilance, and each of the creatures of those types have +1/+1 and vigilance while it's in play. Should be interesting. So it looks like a 4 tribes kind of deck? 4 tribe reanimator kind of thing? 5 tribes. And that deck is being piloted by Kiemlik 2, by the way. Next up, we have Hammerbangers piloting Drana Liberator of Malakir, a card that I tried a long time ago, not on the channel. I think it was before the channel. And, I wouldn't mind getting back to Drana, a little mono black aggro, and that's what they've got going for us here today. Pretty good start with the Bitter Blossom, and got a team that's getting pumped up over there, so that's all a thing. And then finally, we've got Kithron piloting Zerzoff Chaos Raider. He absolutely came out swinging in a game that I filmed recently. I think I filmed it, or we played, I don't know. It was filmed or played, one of the two. And turn 1 mana crypt for that deck is ridiculous, because that comes down super quick, and then just everything, insanity happens. There's just devils everywhere. Had like 10 power by turn 3 or 4. It was pretty crazy. Well, we drew not a land, so that was not ideal. I think we got a Buried Alive then, I think, right? Maybe try to get a little shuffle action going, pull 3 creatures out of the deck, increase the likelihood of a land. All seems like good stuff. I was kind of hoping Zurzoth was going to activate the Makokoro at some point, but they did not. I am thinking Magus of the Wheel for the draw. Maybe Shieldred for the repeatable thing. Ability to get more stuff back. And the question I have is whether we want to put Solemn Simulacrum in the graveyard or not. Yes, I think we do. Because, I was thinking about whether we wanted to give ourselves the ability to draw it, but that's such a low likelihood, 1 in 85. We are more likely to run into a swamp and then Living Death all that stuff back to play, and that would be much better, I think. That is a much more likely scenario. Grizzly Salvage for opponent. Well, hope they don't hit too big right here, because we've got a Living Death. Path of Ancestry, Swamp. Yeah, no creatures. What is up? So they must have hit a giant pocket of lands right there. They kept the Ravenous Chupacabra. Well, it's not going to be our creature. Oh, nope. So they're deciding to go with putting Kaheera into their hand this turn. Yeah, seems fine. Here comes a Solemn Simulacrum for the Drana opponent. Yeah, seems pretty good. I would go for one of those right now. I was also thinking about putting Burnish Shard in the deck. I know it's slow, but the mana curve of this deck is kind of large, so it helps you. And especially if it's coming back, get it back later in the game, do it again. If you crack Burnish Heart twice in a game, that's 4 lands. You are probably ahead of at least one player on land count, if not more. I get it, it's slow and it takes a lot of time to do that, but, you know, if you crack that thing twice, you should be able to make some pretty big plays after the second one. I had a game with my Angel deck a long time ago. Yeah, it was like last year sometime, but the only things I really had going were Dawnbreak Reclaimer and Burnished Heart, so I just kept getting Burnished Heart back and sacrificing it every turn. And, I mean, that put me on, like, 12 lands on turn 8, probably. Don't remember the outcome of the game at this point, but, like, I made a really big play. I know I took at least one player out. Like, I did some stuff. Bunch of creatures, hasty, lots of damage, all that sort of stuff. And it was just because I had so many lands from just cracking Burnished Heart for, like, the first 7 turns of the game repetitively. So, you know, it wasn't the most fun thing to do. Like, I would have preferred to have been doing other things, but that was all we had going at the time. So, yeah. Just kept going with the Burnished Heart, and eventually the lands, you know, they were helpful. They were helpful. Again, I don't remember how it ended, but it definitely put me into a good spot to be able to do some things, so that was important. Opponent activates the Makokoro, which we badly needed. We draw not a land, it's Gravebreaker Lamia. Ooh, that's interesting. That reduces the cost of things from our graveyard. Now, Chainer's in our graveyard, so that's a thing. But, but also, on the other hand, this is something we can cast, and that's relevant. Everything else is double black in this moment. That's a Balefire Dragon. That is not what we were looking for. So I guess we're playing the Gravebreaker Lamia. Just get something into play. Maybe it'll die, maybe it won't. Who knows? When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. And spells you cast from the graveyard cost 1 less to cast. Yeah, this deck could use a Faithless Looting so bad, because I would happily put a Faithless Looting into the graveyard right now just to cycle our hand. Do we have anything that does that? How are things looking for Dockside Extortionist? There's a few things in play. Could throw a Dockside Extortionist into the grave, but also you want to draw it also. Flare of the Hatebound is a pretty cool card. Is there anything that works from the graveyard that can get us lands? That's what I'm looking for. Not really seeing. What does Balthor do? Nope, that's not what we need. I guess we just throw a Machias in there. Definitely don't want to draw a Machias. Here comes a Ravenous Chupacabra. Please don't go our way. Drana's looking pretty strong. I imagine it should be pointing in that direction. Yeah, gonna shoot the Drana. Down for that. Keep that stuff from getting any bigger. Oh, you want to know what we could have done? If we want to go on the slow plan, we could Volrath Solemn Simulacrum back to our hand. But maybe we should have did that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we draw a land this turn. If not, I'm going to Volrath Solemn Simulacrum back during the next turn cycle. What is it, turn 6? Just to hardcast it. Although, you know, we gotta play smart with the Living Death also. Opponent gets another fairy. Yep. Doing pretty good on the fairies. Arcane Signal, sure. Elenda the Dusk Rose coming into play. That is their commander, by the way. Did I announce that? Hammerbangers piloting Elenda the Dusk Rose. Maybe I thought they were playing Drana for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. I must have got confused. They're playing Elenda the Dusk Rose, a commander that gets a lot better with the death rule change. And they're going to send a big old swing over to Nethroi, sure. Not so happy about losing their Drana. Well, not a lot, but a decent number of creatures in the graveyard. Looks like 4 for our opponents, so they will be getting some value back on a Living Death. But we'll be getting some cool stuff too. We'll be getting the badly needed Solemn Simulacrum. I would also be very happy to cycle with this Magus because most of these things are not things we want in our hand. These are creatures which we want in the graveyard for Living Death and things of the sort. Oh, I think opponent's activating that Makokoro again. There we go. Come on, land. Need that land so badly. It's a Dance of the Dead. You know what? That's a start. That is a start. Here comes a Solemn Simulacrum for opponent. Yep. Gets themselves a land. There's the Massacre Worm. Well, that's awkward. Okay, so what are we doing? We can Dance of the Dead. That'll take 2 mana. Yeah, is it just Dance of the Dead on Solemn Simulacrum? Is that all we're doing? Yeah, so the mana curve issues that I talked about are definitely rearing their head in this moment. But yeah, just Dance of the Dead. Is there anything else that is helpful? No. Solemn Simulacrum is definitely the card we need right here. So Solemn Simulacrum coming into play tapped. Use the ability. Get a swamp. Oh, do we ever need a swamp? Swamp into play. We could attack, but I kind of just want the 4/4 as a blocker in this moment. Oh, you want to know what we could have done? Could we have done it? No, we wouldn't have enough black mana. I was thinking if we chained, if we Dance of the Dead it on Chainer and then would cast Solemn from the graveyard, that would have been cool, but we only have 1 black mana to our name when that turn started, so that wouldn't have worked. Oh, we need to discard the hand size. I guess dump a Massacre Worm. Actually, sort of the Noxious Gear Hulk. What do we really want? What effects do we badly need? I think the thing we want is ETBs make a lot of sense. Yeah, okay, let's dump Noxious Gear Hulk in there. Here comes the Bane of Progress to absolutely wreck the day. What's that going to do to our mana? It's going to be bad. It's going to put us down to 4 mana. Solemn Simulacrum will die, though, so we'll get to draw a card. Opponent's going to sacrifice their Solemn Simulacrum. I'm going to float some mana, because why not? They get to draw a card. Elenda will get a counter on it. Elenda gets bigger. Bane of Progress, and is about to get huge. Oh, that was an enchantment creature? That was an enchantment creature, so that's going into the graveyard. We're back in the Pray for Lands off the top position. We do have a card draw coming with this Solemn Simulacrum, though. Draw with the Solemn Simulacrum. It's a Sire of Insanity, not a land. Awesome, awesome. Can't catch the lands. Opponent follows up with the Soul Ring. Yep, that was smart. Chupacabra our way for 2. Nothing we can do about it. Witch's Cottage for opponent. Gonna put Solemn Simulacrum back on top of their library. Probably a card that could go in this deck if it's not already in here. Tough call for us. Do we Volrath Solemn to the top? We'll see if Makokoro happens again. Legion's Landing for opponent. Yep. Where did the Bane of Progress die to? Oh, weaponize the monsters targeting Bane of Progress. Just all that. Okay, sacrifice a creature, deals 2 damage to any target. So they dealt 2 damage to the Bane of Progress with the trigger on the stack, so it got blown up before it got huge. Yeah, that was a smart play. Nice play by our opponent. Opponent spreading some damage around. Legion's Landing will flip over. Looks like 5 coming our way. That's a Shieldred coming into play. Cool. So probably about time for that Living Death. Drana and Fleshbag Marauder in their graveyard. Opponent's looking for the board wipe. Told him if they can get me into a land, I have some things. There's a Wasteland. Gonna Wasteland on the Adanto, the first fort. You know. Is that card good enough? Opponent's been making their land drops, it looks like, so reasonable when you're doing that. We haven't. Like, we would never be able to use that in our current situation. But, yeah. Opponent's going to activate the Makokoro at our request, as people are looking for a way to deal with the Shieldred. We draw a Treasure Keeper, not a land. Outpost Siege for opponent. The Treasure Keeper is something we can play, though, and that's pretty cool. Shieldred trigger on us, no creatures. We draw a Signet. Signet is awkward. Oh, wow, we can't catch lands at all. Can't catch lands at all. Yeah, this is kind of that lesson that, like, you just can't run 36 lands on Magic Online. It will punish you. It will punish you. I mean, I guess it's just Treasure Keeper. It'll die and we'll get a thing if Shieldred triggers, or someone will have to try and wipe the board before then. We do have 9 cards in hand. So let's discard some big things into the graveyard. Get the Doom Whisperer in there, because I really want to filter the top of our deck. And the Massacre Worm, because Massacre Worm is cool. Another creature goes down. Elenda gets a counter on it. Yep. Opponent's going to Windgrace's Judgment. Ooh. Hits our Treasure Keeper, the Shieldred, and the Outpost Siege. So we'll get a Treasure Keeper trigger. If we hit Entreat the Dead, what? Why? Does that say spell? Until you reveal a non-land converted... Oh. Cast it without paying its mana cost. So we can cast it for X0? Well, that is so awkward. I was just hoping for a land right there. That sucks. Nope, nothing we can do with that. And there was a land on top too. It was Homeward Path. We just passed the land. So, yep, that's going to be bad. I'm sure it's going to be more non-lands. More non-lands. Sun Titan for opponent. Uh-oh, what's in their graveyard? Bitter Blossom, Fleshbag Marauder, Drana, Arcane Signal. Bitter Blossom's probably their best option. Goes Legion's Landing. Interesting. Wants the land, I guess. Opponent going on the attack is going to flip over the Legion's Landing, spreading it around. Opponent's going to Anguished Unmaking the Elendra. That's a nice play. That'll keep it from getting the trigger, and that is really good news. So that also minimizes the amount of damage going on the attack. Now opponent's attacking with 1/1s, a 2/2, and a 3/3. So not nearly as bad. Ooh, opponent's down to 15. We're down to 27. Zerzoff at 29. There's the Blasphemous Act. Nice. Although, when we Living Death, they'll get the Sun Titan back. No one wants that, but... Here comes Zurzoth into play. We didn't actually read its ability, by the way. It says, whenever an opponent draws their first card each turn, if it's not their turn, you create a 1/1 red devil creature token with, when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Whenever one or more devils you control attack one or more players, you and those players each draw a card, then discard a card at random. So opponent activates the Makokoro, we draw it into an Emrakul. Yep. Gotta find our way past that. There's gotta be lands on this deck somewhere. There's a Mana Crypt. Finally, something. Alright, play a Mana Crypt. Let's think about our options. How much is this cast? How much is this right now? That's still 9. We are a ways away from that. Could do the Sire of Insanity thing. I don't know that that's this kind of game. At least yet. Yeah, I think there's just too much value to not play Living Death right here, but our opponents will get things, so it's a thing. Get the Signet. Play Living Death. Oh, these are all going to have haste. Yeah, that's going to be pretty good. Do believe that's going to be pretty good. Million triggers on the stack. Oh, Bane of Progress is back. That's gonna crush all of our artifacts. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. Although, actually, so Solemn Simulacrum is gonna die with Undying, and that's really important. Gearhulk on the Shieldred, because it's Shieldred. Massacre Worm. Solemn Simulacrum. Ooh, and also the Noxious Gearhulk's gonna die from the Bane of Progress. This should work out pretty good. Chupacabra is gonna come back, shoot our Shieldred. The good news is, with the Massacre Worm out, opponents are going to be losing some life with all this stuff going to the graveyard, so that's going to be good news. Is this our Solemn Simulacrum? No, that's opponent's Solemn Simulacrum. Our Solemn Simulacrum is way down there. So opponent will get a land. Valakut triggers. That's a thing. Valakut on our Chainer. I think if we discard a thing right now... Well, we don't have any mana. Does that make sense? No, I don't think it makes sense. Okay. Yeah, we'll just let Chainer go then. Oh, Chainer will have Undying. No, wait, non-humans? Oh, they're non-human creatures you control have Undying. It is a human. It does not have Undying. Good thing I remembered that. It's an easy one to forget. So we're going to send Chainer to the command zone. We got some devil triggers. Looks like 3 devil triggers. Ooh, actually. 1 devil trigger on the Drana, and then Massacre Worm should finish it. Actually, no, are they going all 3? Looks like they're going all 3. Massacre Worm triggers for Drana dying. Fleshbag Marauder triggers. We're going to sacrifice the Solemn Simulacrum. Basically, I just want to get this thing in and out of play as many times as I possibly can. Sacrifices the Fleshbag Marauder. Yep. That triggers Undying. That triggers our Solemn Simulacrum. That triggers the Massacre Worm 3 times. I'm going to pay 2 life to Surveil 2. We really need to draw lands. Ooh, there's lands on top of our deck. Wow. Incredible. Put on top. Put on top. Yeah, keep those lands right there. Although I guess we'll... one of those will... our deck's going to get shuffled when Solemn comes back here in a second. We draw. There's a land, finally. Get the Undying trigger. It comes back. Use the ability. Get a Mountain. Sun Titan. Brings back Bitter Blossom. Bane of Progress, getting rid of most things. Many things. That'll trigger Undying a bunch of times. Treasure Keeper will trigger. Sure. What do we get? A Victimize, you say. Ooh, that's interesting. Choose 2 target creatures in your graveyard. If you do, turn the chosen cards of the battlefield tapped. We can get the Solemn back. We can get the Solemn back. So definitely Solemn. Who's going to be the second one? Noxious Gearhulk, maybe? Yeah, seems fine. We will sacrifice... I guess Doom Whisperer? Another Gearhulk trigger. Bane of Progress is huge. We've already got a Noxious Gearhulk on the Shieldred. Let's go ahead and deal with the... I guess the Sun Titan? Losing a little bit of steam. We had like a lot of creatures to start this turn, or to start the play here, but kind of losing some of them as things are coming into and out of play. Shoot the thing. Gained a bunch of life. Opponent loses some life. Search our library for a basic. Use the ability. Get a Mountain. Draw a card. Oops, I forgot to do the thing. Whoops. Yes. Not a land, it's Combustible Gearhulk. That's an interesting one. Undying Gravebreaker Lamia comes back. It ETBs. What can we put into the graveyard? Flayer of the Hatebound is cool. Treasure Keeper comes back. Undying. The Gearhulk? Gearhulk didn't ETB... Oh, no, maybe it did. Yeah, we shot the Sun Titan with it. Shieldred goes down, comes back with Undying. We're going to lose haste on a lot of stuff because a lot of things have died. Auto the Chainer triggers. Solemn Simulacrum, this is an ETB trigger. Go for another mountain right here. Massacre Worm. We'll clean out anything small, although I think a lot of small things have already died. Gearhulk trigger shoots the Shieldred. Opponent gets hit with the Massacre Worm, loses a little life. Gravebreaker Lamia. What do we put into the graveyard? Villas? Villas is a card, right? Maybe Balthor. Let's put Balthor into the graveyard. That's kind of like a mass reanimate kind of thing. Play the Urborg. Actually get a land. Haven't played that many lands. We got a bunch back with the Solemn Simulacrum. What did we get? Like 3 lands right here? That was huge. So, let's see. That's 6, 7, 8. We are even with the turn count. So, all that Solemn catching us up. Let's go to combat. Somehow Bane of Progress didn't die in all the triggers that we just had right there. So, that's the thing. I guess we just take a big hit into Hammer? Yeah, a lot of our things lost haste, unfortunately. So, that's the thing. Send these 3 in. Send a little poke. What is that? Is that 15? 12 plus 3, yeah. Just about cut him in half. A little bit less than that. Puts him down to 20. Not too bad. Shielder trigger for opponent. Ooh, this is a Nethroi deck, though. So, like, they can just cast Nethroi and get a million things back. That's a thing that can happen. Creature goes down. They lose some life to the Massacre Worm. Yep, mutating the Nethroi onto the Bane of Progress. So, opponent's going to get a lot of stuff out of their graveyard. Let's see. Sure, the Chupacabra's coming back. They don't have that many creatures in their graveyard, so, like, Chupacabra's the big one. Just 2? Yeah, just 2. I mean, I guess as far as Nethroi triggers go, that could be so much worse. Ravenous Chupacabra. Who do you shoot? Probably Shieldred. Yeah, they're going to take down the Shieldred. We don't have anything for that in this moment. At least that I can see, anyway. Yeah, nothing I'm aware of. Nethroi coming in our way. It's a 13 with Death Touch and Lifelink. Those are some abilities. Trample? I'm not seeing any trample. Throw the Treasure Keeper in front of that. Maybe we'll get something cool out of it. Treasure Keeper goes down again. Well, it'll get a trigger. Doomed Necromancer is a card. Cast that. Gives us a way to reanimate the Balthor. Perfect. Hammer still said they have a board wipe, though. How many things would actually come back? Massacre Worm comes back. That one doesn't. This one will come back. Solemn comes back. That's the main one we need to keep coming back is Solemn. Solemn has caught us up on lands. We're relatively even with our opponents. There's a Nykthos over here, which, you know, has the ability to produce a lot of mana, so wouldn't say even with them, but probably even with the other 2. Oh, Exile. Exile! Oh, that's bad. Wish we had a sack outlet. Let's start surveilling. Ooh, that's a Phyrexian Reclamation. That's a pretty good card. Shieldred's in the graveyard. Flayer, Balthor. Do we need an altar? What else is in the deck? Like, what else would actually matter? There's Exhume, Animate Dead, Necromancy, Reanimate. Sneak Attack would not be terrible because we have a lot of big things in hand. I think we can do better. Put into the graveyard. Put into the graveyard. Do it again. Land Necromancy. That I'm feeling. Actually, we should try to land to the graveyard. We should try to get a few more creatures into the graveyard. Put that on top. How can we discard more cards? That's the question. Oh, I've got it. We can use Sire of Insanity to discard. So let's do this one more time. Necromancy land is fine. I guess that we had that earlier, but let's see. Put on top. Put on top. Lost a lot of big stuff to exile right there. Merciless Eviction getting us pretty good. Was not expecting that one. Thought it would be a whiteboard wipe. Stitch together for opponent. Uh-oh. Sun Titan coming back. Probably would have gone for the Shieldred personally. Gonna grab the Drana, sure. Oh, I guess the other thing too, we could use the Volrath to put something back on top. So it's 7 mana to do the Volrath thing. Opponent gets a mountain, so they're gonna use a Volakut to shoot the Drana. Yeah, I'm on board for that. 7 mana for the Balthor ability. I think this turn, yeah, I think this turn is just, ooh, Necromancy is 3? That's 6, 7, 8. Oh, we're 1 short of Necromancy, Sire. Blah. Maybe I should have gone the other way on that. Here comes Zurzoth back to play. Yep. Ooh, I wonder if they activate Makokoro right here. They do. Excellent. All right, so we're going to get Necromancy and the land. Now we can do it. Perfect. They'll get some Devils. Got to be careful, I guess. The Devils can shoot Balthor, and that would be bad. That would be bad. Maybe we want to play this a little more chill. Soul Guide. Oh, Soul Guide Lantern. Rip. Exile a card from a graveyard. It's going to be the Drana. Yep. All right, so the thing we need to do is kill this Sun Titan and then play Necromancy on it. That's what we need to do. Uh-oh. Opponent just tapped out. Exile each opponent. Nope, that one doesn't cost mana. It's only if they want to draw a card. Yep, they're going to exile the graveyards. Okay. Graveyards down. Sadness. Lots of exile this game. Brings it back to our turn. There's the Badlands. Play the Badlands. Puts us on 9 mana. We could just play Kaheera. Kaheera is a really serious card. That's 7 mana. Doesn't leave us with room to do much else, though. We're on 9. Could do like, let's see, that's 4, 3, and 3. Necromancy, something at instant speed if it comes up. Could also go Gearhulk Felden. Doesn't seem awful. Actually, there's nothing in the graveyard. I mean, maybe it's Sire. Opponents have a lot of cards in hand. Cards in hand will cause problems. Sire Felden. Here we go. Ooh, opponent's got a sack outlet. No, Sire Felden doesn't work. Because then they shoot Felden, and then we're in trouble. Okay. Gearhulk Felden? I think Gearhulk Felden. Choose Hammer. He's got the least life. Both of our good mana rocks are gone. Soul Ring and Mana Crypt. Not ideal. We get the draw. Ooh, that's an Exhume. Play Felden. We need to discard down to 7. Let us discard. Emrakul, because we're never ever going to cast it. And Karavek. Pass like that. Thrashing Brontodon. Kaheera finally making an appearance. It's going to pump up the Brontodon, yeah. Imperial Seal. Opponent going for their mess. No, the graveyards are empty. Don't know what they're going for. Solemn Simulacrum back for the Elenda opponent, yeah. Solemn Simulacrum's been MVP for us this game. We'd be just out of the game if we didn't Solemn for like 3 lands or whatever it was. Glinthorn Buccaneer for opponent, yep. Whenever you discard a card, 1 damage each opponent. And they can activate to discard and draw a card during their attack step. Hope they tap out all the red mana and don't shoot Felden. Raid Bombardment, oh man. Haven't seen that in a while. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less attacks, it deals 1 damage to the player or planeswalker that creature is attacking. Yeah. Reasonable for a go-wide deck like this. That will be a non-zero amount of damage. Opponent wants no part of that. They're going to activate the Thrashing Brontodon and shoot it. So it's going to go down. Oh my god, so some wildness happened. Sorry I missed this, but opponent tried a Fiery Emancipation, which was then hit with a D-Spark. So that's going to keep everything from being lethal. That is good news. Opponent sending an attack our way. I don't want to risk losing Felden, so I'm just going to take that. So opponents are going to block their Devils. But yeah, I don't want those 1 damage triggers on Felden. We need our Felden to stay alive. It does nice things for us. So 2 Devils will go down. And because we were attacked and other opponents were attacked, opponent did create some additional Devils and we drew a card. It is a Disciple of Bolas. Ooh, that's a reanimate. Okay. Cool things happened. Oh my. We could potentially do something ridiculous here with the Disciple and the Emrakul. Opponents are mostly tapped out. Mostly. What do we need to get into play this turn? This thing says opponents can't gain life at the beginning of each end step. That opponent loses life equal to the life they lost this turn. That would put the Devil's opponent at 1 life if we hit him with the Emrakul and got this into play. That seems pretty crazy. We don't have like the best discard outlets. Chainer's going to be 6. That's not particularly cheap. Okay, so let's activate Chainer, get Emrakul. It's a 13/13 with haste. We can Demonic Tutor. Kind of wish I knew the deck just a teeny bit better. No, we lost a lot of good things too, though. Ilharg does not have haste naturally. It's not the best. Exquisite Blow. Whenever opponent loses life, you gain that much life. Seems not terrible. Oh, Sneak Attack. Yeah, we talked about the Sneak Attack, didn't we? How much mana is left? So it would take us 6 to Tutor and Sneak Attack, and that is exactly all of our mana. So that's not the play we want this turn, I don't think. Exhume is less good of a play than it was a turn ago. Okay, yeah. So I think we just slam Emrakul into the Devil's opponent. Combustible's still going to have blocking duty. Woof. Opponent takes that Emrakul hit. Goes from 27 to 14. Cuts them in half. Then we Disciple of Bolas. Disciple ETBs. Sacrifice Emrakul. We draw 13 and gain 13 life. Back to 38. We got a handful of goodies. There's an Animate Dead. Baleful Force. Apprentice Necromancer. Runescar Demon. Pestilence Demon. Ancient Tomb. Land. Terror of the Peaks. Entreat the Dead. Entreat the Dead was at the bottom of our library. That is, well, we must have shuffled at some point. We may be on like an Entreat the Dead kind of thing. Ilharg. Yep, there are many things in our hand. If we drop down the Ancient Tomb, we can actually make a 4-mana play. Yeah, this deck just needs like Faithless Lootings. That's a big thing that's missing right here. Treat the Dead is so expensive. Okay, so the things I want, I think I want Animate Dead to get Karavak into play, because Karavak's kind of crazy. And then, man, I'm trying to stay away from this Exhume. That Doom Whisperer can do things. I mean, I guess we're just playing Exhume. I guess that's what's happening. So, play the Ancient Tomb. Make 2. Play Exhume. Let's go for the Karavak. Opponent gets back a Solemn Simulacrum. I'm jealous. Doom Whisperer back. 2 Solemn Simulacrum. No, just 1? Just 1. I don't know. And then play the... Oh, you know what we could have did? Actually, no. Bane of Progress has happened too many times that Dockside Extortionist is not a great play in this moment. Ooh, opponent's going to Volakut our Felden down. Bummer. And then we'll Animate Dead on something. Emrakul or Balefire. Emrakul's just big. Balefire is board suppression, which I think is very important. It's also a flying blocker. So Balefire into play. Sacrifice trigger for Felden on the Emrakul, but it's already gone. And we're going to have to discard down from 17 cards. Let's get rid of most of the big creatures. Get rid of anything that's like not reasonably hard castable. Just don't feel like we need this Yawgmoth at all. Hasn't really been like any kind of... Just hasn't been a thing we needed. Ditch a few lands, ditch a swamp, ditch a Blood Crypt. Hoarding Dragon, meh. Terror's kind of cool. I'd like to get a look at it if possible. We have some 5-drops already. Discard Ilharg. Can't see how many we have to go. Get rid of the Apprentice, I guess, because it's a little bit slower. Don't have haste. Do we ditch Sire? Let's ditch Sire. There we go. So we're left with the hand that looks like this. We got 1 land, Runescar Demon, Necromancy, Demonic Tutor, Reanimate, Entreat the Dead, and Terror of the Peak. So ditched most of our creatures. Hopefully no more Graveyard Exile. But have numerous ways to reanimate things. Missing haste. Missing haste at the moment. Probably needs a Lightning Greaves also, just for protection. If we cast our Commander, that would actually get us haste on all the stuff we want to be doing. So, might think about that. Opponent's going to use the Doom Whisperer. It's going to be a tricky place with his Karavak running around. Nethroi into the Karavak. That's a cast trigger, so we can't... How much is that? Oh. That's 7? Check the game log here. Yeah, that should be 7. I'm going to try to shoot the Doom Whisperer in hopes that it kills it and that it fizzles the Mutate. That's what I'm going for right here. Although only Thrashing Bronodon in the graveyard, but Thrashing Bronodon good enough to get rid of our Balefire Dragon because of Animate Dead. Crap, it survived. It was only 5 damage because of that. That's annoying. That's annoying. Crap. Well, if for some reason... No, because there's an Anthem in play. That didn't pan out. So they get to return creatures. That's just the Thrashing Bronodon. You know, Balefire Dragon's pretty good. Although maybe they may not go for it right away if we don't attack them with it. Barrage of Expendables is also a pretty serious card. Nope, just going to go for it right away. Doom Whisperer coming our way. Awesome. Awesome. It's got Vigilance. Yep, that's a thing. Karavak, by the way, super nasty card. So punishing. These can end a game in a hurry. If they tap out their mana to play spells, like, we can probably kill the red opponent. Sun Titan into the red player. Getting back the Signet. Potentially they could block with, like... No, they've only got 3 Devils up? Yeah, they've got 3 damage right now. They don't have enough to kill Karavak, so... I think they're trying to hold off on the spells. Blocks with a single Devil. Get 1 damage to any target. Probably us. 2 are Disciple. Okay, Disciple going down. Here comes a Liliana Dreadhorde General. Oh boy. Karavak trigger. What's that? That's 6? Chatting with Kithron about what he's planning to attack, so he's not sure yet because the board state keeps changing pretty drastically. So I'm going to shoot this Sun Titan. as a gesture of good faith. I think we're about to sacrifice 2 creatures. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures. Oh, the Sun Titan would have died anyway. Well, at least they can't play around it in some tricky way now. But yeah, maybe not the best targets with Karavek. That has been a thing. So sacrifice our 2 creatures. Doom Whisperer going down. Yeah, board getting mostly wiped except for Devils, who, you know, have been going wide, so they have plenty of things to sacrifice. Liliana gives the Devils something to attack into, which is nice. That is not us. This thing is so mana hungry. Budgetary thing, Rise of the Dark Realms, so much better. Just pay 9, get everything. Scry Temple for opponent. Are there any creatures in opponent's graveyards we should be aware of? Oh, there's a Sun Titan. Sun Titan, animate dead, get something cool. Something cool. Maybe Archfiend, because we probably want to try to take opponents out at this point. We don't want to dawdle too much. Opponents still have a lot of cards left. Red players getting antsy. They've got things. This Barrage makes me nervous. There's a Sword of the Animist. They have the ability to keep making more Devils pretty easily. Getting into like kind of that danger point of like each turn, people will be able to do a lot of stuff. Although opponents haven't ramped like crazy. This Nykthos probably doing the best ramping right here. Sword of the Animist showing up a little bit late in this game, but you know if they get a couple more turns out of it, just even a couple lands can make a huge deal. About the number of things you can do in a turn. Sabira, Talzidi Caravaner, Torch Fiend, destroy target artifact. We do not have any of those because they've been blown up multiple times. Forge Devil enters battlefield, deals 1 damage to target creature and 1 damage to you. Put it down to 1 card in hand. Gonna do the damage to their commander, no big deal. Dark Dweller Oracle, that's a pretty good card for what they have going on. 3 mana in the pool. Uses the ability, exiles a card, can play the top card of their library this turn. It's a Myriad Landscape. Don't know if they played a land yet. Nope, plays the Myriad Landscape. Activates the Subira ability. It says discard your hand until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. They're going to draw 1,000,000 cards. Well, not 1,000,000, but like probably 4 or 5. And at this juncture, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Well, maybe not. They got to think about this Liliana also. Leaves the Liliana? Okay. Sends a 2/4 into the Liliana. 3/4 into us. A Devil into each other player. Zerzoff trigger. Sword of the Animist trigger. We're going to draw some cards right here. There's a land. I don't mind another land. Opponent's going to make more goblins. Yep. Kind of takes board wipes out of the equation. Opponent's going to make a 1/1 vampire with lifelink. That is not the most exciting thing to be doing with that mana. Tells me that everything in their hand is probably expensive or lands. They went for the Dreadhorde General. Valakut trigger. Where's this going? This is going to... Oh, shot the Liliana. Oh yeah, because the opponent could probably block for it. That makes sense. Devil dies to the blocker, 1 damage any target. Gonna send it our way. That's fine. For what we're about to do, I think we deserve it. Opponents are tapped out, which means we can kind of just do our thing. There's a talisman. Play this Dragon Skull Summit. Cast our commander. How much mana do we actually have? Let's do that first. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That'll be 6. After that, we can reanimate and necromancy, and that is everything. So we won't be able to get the terror into play. Maybe we can do something with the discarding, although there isn't that many things. If we just kill opponents, then yeah, terror won't really matter, although I really just want to get a nice look at terror. Haven't been able to really get a great look at it yet. So cast Chainer, we need a lot of black mana. We do have Urborg, so we should be okay. Use the Ancient Tomb. All right, so we're going to want Emrakul to probably take down Kithron. Actually, we may need to take down one of the other ones. Reanimate on Sun Titan. It'll come in. Sun Titan, the Animate Dead. Sun Titan does get haste. Use the ability. Animate Dead onto Emrakul, because that's a big expensive one. That'll get haste. Oh, it's a 12/3. I think it'll be okay. Play Necromancy. Let's see. Emrakul can kill Kiamlik. How much is that? That's 12 damage. Those 2 will be enough for there. We need a big flyer. Balefire Dragon should be good enough for Kithron. Everything's got haste. Oh no, we forgot the thing. Oh, we forgot the one that we needed. The damage doubly one. Crap. How do we find the damage doubly one? Oh, we use Sun Titan to... Let's see. We have another Necromancy or something. Animate Dead, Necromancy down. Dance of the Dead? What about Dance of the Dead? Crap. I think I messed up. think I messed up. Blah. All right, well, it looks like this game's going to go longer than it had to. Whoops. Yeah, we just needed to get the other demon. And, yep. Okay. Emrakul to Kamlik. Do we have lethal? What if we just... This needs to go to Kithron. No questions about that. That'll be 18. That'll be 21. We put him to 3. Put him on a mana crypt flip. Maybe we'll spread it out a little bit. Choices are land, Necromancer Apprentice. Oh, Necromancer's Apprentice gets it done. Okay. Well, that crap. Get the Necromancer's Apprentice. Chainer will give it haste. Read that Archfiend again. At the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life that player lost this turn. Okay, yeah. Balefire Dragon trigger puts opponent at 7. We'll clear out their board. Oh, that's going to be a lot of damage triggers. 1 our way. Just say player or opponent at the beginning of each end step. Opponents. Okay, that's important. That's important. All 4 triggers our way. Okay. Then at the end step here, or in our main phase rather, get back the Archfiend like we talked about. Pay the black. Could have totally gotten the talisman in, but hopefully that's not going to matter. I know 1 opponent will survive. And end the turn. Apprentice trigger, Archfiend trigger. See who's still in it. 1 player goes down. Hammer down to 7. Well, they're going to get an untap right here. And Kithron down to 1. Opponent sounds like he just top decked something. Merciless Eviction again. Torment. Torment would do it. Kamlik tutored for a Torment. But didn't get the opportunity. Yep. Let's see what opponent's got. Please don't be a Torment. I don't care if I lose, I just don't want to lose to that. Oh, it's a Rise of the Dark Realms. All right. I'll lose to a Rise of the Dark Realms. Let's see how bad it's going to be. Ilharg, Hoarding Dragon, Pestilence Demon, Baleful Force. That's a lot of things. I'm not seeing any haste yet. Opponent can activate the Pestilence Demon 1 time to kill Kithron. Ooh, opponent's going to gain some life with a Disciple of Bolas. Yeah, that's pretty good. That one's got haste. 1 damage to Chainer. Not ideal. Not ideal. There's a Homeward Path somewhere in our deck. Has it been exiled yet? Not yet. Not yet. Opponent has our Archfiend. We have a Demonic Tutor. We can, as long as we survive, we can probably find something. Whoa, look at this right here. That's weird. Have them draw 3 cards? Yes, have them draw 3 cards. With an Archfiend out, absolutely not worth that life loss. Disciple of Bolas. We could tutor for Homeward Path. That'd be pretty funny. Oh, what else is there? Most of our big stuff is gone, I think. Flare of the Hatebound, maybe? See what their life total's at. Yeah, most of the big stuff is gone. Homeward Path may actually be our best bet. Okay, so Disciple of Bolas trigger. See what they sacrifice. Probably the biggest one. Oh, they've got a Sire of Insanity. Sacrifices the Baleful Force. Goes up to 14. Sire of Insanity will be a problem. I don't know that we have a great solution for that because we will discard our hand. Hoarding Dragon. Oh, no. Opponent can sacrifice a bunch of creatures to shoot a lot of our things. That's kind of a problem. They have 16 cards in hand. Maybe they sacrifice the Sire of Insanity. If they do that, we can probably find a way out of this. There's a mana crypt. Shriekmaw. See where they want to go with that. All the targets are good. Now, if he kills Kithron, he will lose a significant number of red things over there. Gonna go for the Sun Titan. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. Sun Titan has the ability to be continuously annoying. Opponent's going to reanimate the Shriekmaw. Yep, get another one. Brings him down to 8 life, though. That is relevant. What do they want to get rid of right here? Emrakul. Okay, Emrakul down. Animate Dead goes down. Ooh, opponent's got our Karavek. Skull Clamp. They can draw many cards now. Actually, no. No ability to equip. Hasn't done anything with that Sire of Insanity yet. Opponent's got a 2/4. Only thing with haste. Oh, 2 things with haste. Glinthorn and Sabira. Okay. Both coming our way. Yep. That will make our life really low. Opponent does not go for the Sacrifice and Sire of Insanity. Just going to discard all the hands. Now we're looking at like Homeward Path off the top. Does appear that they're going to leave us with Chainer, though. I guess they can activate Yawgmoth at any time. Oh, Glinthorn Buccaneer is going to kill us all. Okay, yep, there we go. I see what's going on now. Yeah, I punted the big turn. There were some really long waits in this game. You guys won't see it because of the editing, but I mean, the last turn cycle's probably been almost an hour. Like, it's been a very long time. So, from the time that I kind of came up with the plan to the time of actually executing it was pretty long. So in that time, you can kind of forget what you're doing. Oh, that's unfortunate. What was our next card? Rakdos. Rakdos doesn't solve anything. Nor does the Signet. Anyway, okay. So let's get into the review. We had the chance to win right there, but I just punted, made a misplay, so, you know, that is what it is. But there's still some things that need to happen with this deck. There is not enough stuff to do early in the game. There are way too many 5-drops in this deck. Too many big things. We don't need to change a ton of things, but we do need to trim from this section of the deck and just get a couple more things in this section of the deck. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but it needs to be a couple. Number one, whatever card didn't get imported, probably something out of like Conspiracy. All the Undaunted cards don't exist on Magic Online. Oh, found it. Saldevi Adnate is what didn't make it. Hasn't been printed online, as far as I know, which is a really cool card, but unfortunate that it's not here. Yep, Saldevi Adnate is the card. Okay, out of Alliances. Okay, yeah, we need more things to do in the early turns of the game. Saldevi Adnate would have been a nice card as a 2-drop. You guys saw what the Solemn Simulacrum did this game. It kept us in the game and gave us a chance, so that 100% needs to come into the deck. You could think about things like a Panharmonicon and a Conjurer's Closet, because this deck is just loaded with ETBs. Phyrexian Plague Lord is interesting. It's a sack outlet, and it's a thing I've used in the past. 5 mana, like, it's fine. Doesn't blow you away. I think I'm just going to cut that for a more traditional sack outlet. Get the curve down. What's the creature count? Creature count was 40. Yeah, we can cut creatures in this deck. Bring that down a touch. Hoarding Dragon, kind of underwhelming. Get rid of that. So, like, if all I did right here was cut these two and add, like, a Signet and an Altar, this deck would immediately become better. Like, just taking a couple things, or, like, Faithless Looting. This deck needs Faithless Looting so badly. So, let's get that in. Add a Faithless Looting. Also needs a Cathartic Reunion. Add a Cathartic Reunion. A card that's going to be really good too is Hazarets Monument. Talked about it in a previous video. So this is going to give cost reduction for your red stuff, but it's also, doesn't matter what color creature you cast. Whenever you cast a creature, you can loot a card. So you can draw one and discard one, or discard first, then draw. And that's going to be continuous filtering, which would have been so helpful in this game because we were just stuck on huge things in our hand. Not the place we wanted to be. So that would have been super, super helpful. Let's see. Take a peek at the 6-drops. Love Massacre Worm. Visara's a little underwhelming, although I guess with Chainer can give it haste. That makes it okay. Flare's good. Combustible's good. Atali is good. Sire is nasty but good. You know, honestly, like Worm Coil Engine is not the card it used to be. Like, it's decent, but it doesn't exactly blow you away. I'm going to get rid of this Worm Coil because I do want to keep some of the spicier things up here at 7. At 7 and 8, so, you know, that's just the choice that I'm making right here. You could obviously keep the Worm Coil. It's a very solid card, but like, I like Pestilence Demon. I want to give the opportunity to be able to use Pestilence Demon. Baleful Force is a cool card that no one uses that much. It may be a little underwhelming for its cost. But actually, I don't even know. I haven't really seen it that much, but it's a cool card, so we'll leave it in there just because there's not a lot of places you get to play a card like that, so, you know. Worm Coil can go into a lot of different decks. I'll kind of leave those just because they're more fun. Emrakul is tricky because you will not cast Emrakul. Like, you need to use a reanimation effect to get Emrakul. Not that that's particularly difficult, but it's just a thing you got to keep in mind. Honestly, I think this deck wants an Armillary Sphere. Well, you got choices. You got, like, Armillary Sphere, you got Burnished Heart. Burnished Heart is slower, but does ramp. I think I'm going Burnished Heart. Maybe we want all of them. Give me Burnished Heart. We need more sack outlets in the deck too. Give me like the standard altar setup. So Ashnod's Altar, and we've already got Phyrexian Altar, and then Altar of Dementia. I mean, these cards are insane. You could also add Goblin Bombardment. That card is great too. Actually, as a matter of fact, we don't have like the amount of removal that I like, so we are going to add Goblin Bombardment. Getting rid of stuff is important. We are at 103. Still 38 creatures in the deck. Creature count needs to come down. Grevin, you say. When it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw cards equal to that creature's power. You lose life equal to the toughness. Is that good enough for this deck? Like, I'm spending a lot of time and energy to reanimate my creatures. I don't want to sack them. I'm getting rid of Grevin. Grevin's out. Get rid of another 5-drop. Treasonous Ogre is really mediocre. We're going to get rid of that. I've used it in a bunch of decks. You need to be able to gain a lot of life back to really be able to use Treasonous Ogre. That mana is usually not worth it. I'll be honest, as crazy as of a card as it is, I was not impressed with Yawgmoth. It was in our hand all game. Now, I get it, we were stuck on mana for a long period of time, but at no point did I really want to cast this Yawgmoth. We just had other things to do. We didn't really want to discard it either. Would have been a nice sack outlet against the Mass Exile, but other than that, I don't know. I'm going to try to leave it in just because I know it's a powerful card, but if they find that it isn't doing what they want it to do in this deck, cut it, put it somewhere else, drop it into another deck. That might be more suited to it, but I don't know. I get it. Like, it was a weird game. If we had made all our land drops, maybe I feel differently about it, and just, you kind of get it in easily at some point, but we were not able to do that. Exquisite Blood is an interesting card. I probably wouldn't run it. Whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. I think I would just go... These things have a tendency to get you killed. So I think I would just go for Gray Merchant. They're going to live in a similar space. They both gain you a lot of life. This one, Gray Merchant does a lot of damage too, though. I would just go Gray Merchant for that. Again, Exquisite Blood, great card. Drop it into another deck. I don't think this is quite the right deck for it. So we're getting Gray Merchant. I think the other thing too, and we're going back up in 5 drops now, but Cavalier of Flame. That's another way to cycle stuff. It's also another source of haste. If Chainer isn't in play, which, happened a few times to us this game, it's Team Fire Breathing. A lot of good abilities on Cavalier. I have questions about the Necromancer card. Well, maybe they're better. Yeah, they're better because Chainer can give them haste, but on their own, they can be a little underwhelming. We did almost win because of the one Necromancer thing, so we'll keep that in mind. In general, they're not my favorite, though. This Phyrexian Reclamation, I get it. The fact that you have to also pay mana to do it is what has me concerned. Like, there are some decks I get, especially a green deck. If you're dropping Wood Elves out there like 4 times a game, you probably have the mana to fool around with this thing. In this deck, I don't know. Like, I think you really want that first Living Death to kind of be the one. I don't know if they have a lot of time left to really kind of fool around with stuff after that. So I get it. Like, it's kind of a resiliency thing if you run out of other stuff, but there are a lot of other ways to reanimate. You've got Volrath's Stronghold still for that same sort of effect. Do you have the Witch's Cottage thing? Let's see. Nope, we can add that one in. Can add a Witch's Cottage. Get more of that effect, but without having to take up a non-land deck slot. So I like that. Treasure Keeper was like mediocre. We hit badly with it on the one with the X spell, but I don't think that's going to happen most of the time. Most of the time we should hit something that matters. Probably worth keeping for now. Especially we have more outlets now. More sack outlets can really do some stuff. So the deck started with, I think, 12 5-drops and 9 6-drops. We've got down to 10 and 8. That is an improvement. The curve for this deck, especially when we kind of first looked at it, was very similar to my Angels deck. And keep in mind that, like, my Angels deck has 15 pieces of ramp in it, and like 8 of them are multi-producing pieces of ramp. This deck does not have that. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind, that if you're going to run a big curve deck like this, and I get it, we're not trying to cast everything, but we are going to try to cast some things at some point, or may have to cast them, then you do need to make land drops. Like, getting those lands is super, super important. This deck is kind of light on card draw, I think. Yeah, our opponents did draw us a bunch of cards with that Makokoro. That's a thing to think about. So you're really going to want to be on the Solemn Plan a lot, I think. That may be a later change, because there's some other things I'd like to change around too. We don't have a ton of removal in the deck. Let's see what actual creature removal looks like. There's Pestilence Demon, but it is slow. Balefire Dragon, but conditional, generally slow. Shieldred, less conditional, but 1 at a time. Those are a couple things. Visara can be slow if Chainer's in play, maybe not too bad. Massacre Worm. Noxious is anything, so that's cool. You could add a Duplicant. Duplicant wouldn't be awful. Anything at 5 mana. Terror is removal. That one could actually be very cool. But you should at least have a Blasphemous Act in this deck, so add a Blasphemous Act. And you should probably have more removal than that, but just as like a starting place, let's get that in there. That's got to be in the deck. You never know when someone's just going to come out super fast, and you just need to blow things up, so... Ilharg, I'm kind of on the fence about. Like, it is a nice creature that you can just hard cast, and then it'll do the thing, and it's pretty beefy on its own, so, like, that's not awful. But you don't necessarily need it, but it is very solid. As good as Villas is, I don't know that this deck actually produces mana in a way to really take advantage of Villas, but it is just good if you can just do it, like, even one time. I feel like Entreat the Dead is probably too expensive to really kind of be reasonable. To get 1 creature, you're going to pay, what, 5? To get 2 creatures... You're paying 7? That's a lot. It's a lot. I'm a Rise of the Dark Realms guy, personally. If I'm getting creatures, I want them all, but you could go Ever After, although we do just need to cut cards. Maybe the single target stuff is plenty. I don't know. I'm going to try and leave it, but it is not my favorite card by any stretch. See if we can get rid of another 5-drop. They're all pretty good. See if there's a 6-drop. Atali's the one that's like, giving Atali haste is really powerful. Those are all pretty good. Those are pretty good. Karavek, well, I used the Karavek poorly, so there's that. But if I had used Karavek a little better, maybe it would have been pretty good. All right, we'll try to leave all that stuff intact the way it is. This was a 36 land deck. I would love to see it go to 37, but I don't feel like making the super, super difficult cuts of trying to get that to work out. So, cut a land, brings us down to 102. What are we dropping? I'm going to drop the Doom Necromancer. At 3 mana in 1, that's a lot. 2 mana in 1 is a lot easier. Lot easier. Actually, well, check one thing. Oh, that's a permanent reanimate where this is a haste and sacrifice reanimate. You know what? I think I'll take that. I think you just want to get the haste thing going. Yeah, this Treasure Keeper. I think I want a Panharmonicon in that spot. Panharmonicon's a wild card. You could keep it. Maybe if you cut the Yawgmoth, you can cut the Yawgmoth if you want to. We're at 101. Okay, I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to cut the Goblin Bombardment, but you should probably add it, just because I'm trying to get back down to 100 here. And let's see. This deck probably needs more ramp also. Take a peek at that. Even just a Dark Ritual, if you can sneak it in, would be pretty good. All right, you got 11 pieces of ramp that I'm seeing. Rakdos is a little awkward, but that doesn't include the altars. I don't usually count altars as ramp, just because it's not consistent mana production. It's usually like 1 turn of mana production. But 11's okay. And, I'd run a few more personally, but it is, I think, better than where we were. So, and with the looting will help us find it a little easier so that we don't have a handful of big expensive stuff. One card we need to get rid of. It should probably be something expensive. Villas is one of those weird cards that's like so powerful that it just gets shot. Baleful Force, on the other hand, is like card draw that I could actually see sticking for a few turns. Things to think about. Archfiend is cool. Whip of Erebos is an interesting card in that, like, it's a little slow. It's a little slow for what it does. Not saying don't run it, but it's not always the card you want it to be. This deck could probably use the Lightning Greaves pretty badly, too. All right, last cut, I'm getting rid of Entreat the Dead. Entreat the Dead's out. If you have a Rise of the Dark Realms, you can add that in there. Figure out something else to cut, but just for the sake of, like, trying to not being here all day, trying to figure this thing out. So, this would be a much better arrangement. We trim back the 5-drops just a little bit. Just a little bit. Same thing with the 6-drops. 1 less 6-drop. I think 2 to 3 less 5-drops. A little bit more to do early. Made a couple different card choices. We got some looting into the deck so you can really fill up the graveyard a lot easier. Should really help out with the smoothness of, like, yeah, we had all big stuff. You don't want big stuff in your hand. You want it in the graveyard so that you can reanimate it. But yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. The 2020 GoFundMe is active. If you want to do one-on-one deck reviews with me, or get one of your decks played on video, be sure to check out the link in the description below. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below.